The world is eating us for lunch. Maybe it has you in the grips of its jaw. But have you ever seen this image? Typically goes with the saying, don't ever give up. Don't ever give up. And that inspired me today because it turns out that don'tevergiveup.com is up for auction over at Dropcatch this week. And no, I'm not going to do a business plan for that domain, but instead, I'm using it to force me to think about what I would do if I had to start over. What business would I create, and how would I pay the bills? So stick around today. We're going to look at the path forward if we're starting over. Plus, we'll look at this week's available domains, talk about business opportunities, and plan out some businesses for them. And if you're with me live, I'd love to know, how many times have you had to start over? How many times have you had to rewrite your future plans? I'm on about Act 4 right now. So, well, stick around. We're just getting started.
From domain to profit, from a .com to a business idea. Pick a domain name, develop an income from domain to profit. We'll show you how. Domain to profit, from domain to profit. Join Drew Washin. Get started right now.
Alrighty, always some audio issues, but hopefully right now I am live and you're with me. So thank you so much for joining me on From Domain to Profit. Things get a little crazy and the brain goes haywire. You know what I say, when the brain's not working, well, drink coffee during the day. Okay, I'll keep hitting the wrong buttons here. Well, I guess on topic, I could just say, maybe I just need to start over. I'm not going to start the whole show over, but sometimes that ultimately we need to start over. Whether it's by choice or not, we are forced to start over. I know that in my life, I've had to start over on numerous occasions. It's the downside of being a bit of a risk taker in business. When you try new things and you experiment. Sometimes things work out, and then sometimes unexpectedly things mess up. So, and for example, like when I was back in college, my senior year, I was newly engaged. I had just a quarter left of getting before I graduated, and my fiance and I, we decided to buy a house. So we drained my savings account and we put down the money on this house. And shortly after that, it turns out that basically all the businesses that I had going as of that point crashed. So I drained my savings account, and then all the money went away. The source of the money went away. And basically Google had a bunch of sites that were ranked well. Making, I think it was $7K or something a month. Great for a 20-something-year-old kid. The next thing you know, it was $1,200. So the scary thing at that point was that the cushion, that savings was gone. Now I had, a wife, a house, all this responsibility, but the source of income that I had, and then the backup plan of my savings was just all gone. I don't know. Have you been there? That's one of my acts, one of the times, the chapters in my life where I had to just figure it out. And a little bit of what we're going to talk about today, quite a bit, is just what do you do in that oh shit moment of I got to figure out how to make some money. I got to figure out how to pay the bills. For me, as of that point, luckily, I was married, and once we got into the house, it was actually funny. The first night we spent in that house, the heat was broken. This was late November in Cincinnati. The heat was broken, so we were on this air mattress. We had no furniture because we're moving out of a one-bedroom apartment. And I don't know, it was really, it could probably be a sitcom with all the things that were going wrong at the time. And for us, as of that point, I was lucky enough that I had my wife Crystal went and found a job. She got a job at Home Depot. I used to say that funny. Do I still say that? Home Depot? Anyhow. But that was essentially, she did that while I got my butt moving on getting business going again, which I'll talk to you a little bit about how that happened. Like, how did I get it going again? So let me just say hi to everybody here. We got, so thanks for dealing with the audio things here. Nice to see you there, Michael. Jason, yes, we got the audio going. Thanks for joining me. Always nice to have such a pro with me. Chaz giving the thumbs up. And let me see. And Jason saying, he's not sure what act he's on, but not the epilogue. Yeah, no doubt. We don't want to be in the ending. So I could tell you right now, Jason is kicking some butt. So hopefully he's on that build up, that build up. So that's what we certainly want to see. So, well, thank you everybody for joining me, Domain to Profit. As you probably know, as much as I like to sit here and talk, one of the things I want to do is make sure I'm bringing you the opportunities from this week. And that comes in the form of some of the domains that are expiring, only going to be available this week. And we're going to bring them to you. I'm going to highlight the ones that I think are great for starting businesses, possibly great for even starting over if you're at a place in your life, whether you've lost a job, lost a business, and you need to do something like start over again. Well, maybe one of these will be that opportunity for you. And we'll try to look at each of the business plans this week with that kind of in mind. Like, would this be a good domain for somebody that's starting fresh, like that needs to get going? Or would this be something that's maybe for somebody that's adding a second one or something? So with that said, I want to set up the 3-minute business plan. And this will be changing. I plan on spending some time this week on updating the 3-minute business plan, but you can see it right over here. The 3-minute business plan is the format that we try to run down as we look at each of these domain names. And these domain names, I say it each week, they're like rockets. They're set for launch. We know when they're going to go up for auction. All we're trying to figure out is what the mission should be, what that domain could be used for, and then who's going to be the crew? Who's going to be the one that buys that domain name and takes it towards the goal of that domain? And we run down the 3-minute business plan here, everything from the market, then the problem, the solution that we're going to try to solve, the message we're going to put out there into the world, and then a little bit of the marketing as far as like what gives it its in, what gives it the authority, what gives it that advantage over other domain names or forms of marketing, and then awareness, of course, reaching our audience, which a lot of times you'll find is manual. Just get on the phone, call. So the first domain I want to bring up on our 3-minute business plan this week is, well, let's find out. Yes, I put the set up first. So the first set, this is a set of domain names. These are over on GoDaddy, which let me bring that up for you. For anyone that is not familiar with these expired auctions, you'll find it over on GoDaddy Auctions and auctions.godaddy.com. These two domain names end in 2 separate auctions in approximately 8 days. And you'll see it's Payroll System and payrollsystems.com. So possibly these domains dealing with payroll could be the source of your future payroll. Let's start the timer. 3-minute timer. Let's plan a business. So the domain name is Payroll System, payrollsystems.com. And each of them I kind of catalog and bring together in one simple thing, which is payroll. We got to deal with what are the systems that are going to be out there. I hate payroll. I don't even have to deal with it. My wife, Crystal, my right-hand gal, always handles payroll. And the reason is, it's horrible. No one who likes payroll? If you like payroll, I don't know. We could be friends, but just anyhow. Okay. Well, I guess I married somebody that likes payroll. Actually, she hates it too. Okay. So the problem is, one, everybody hates payroll, but if you have employees as a business, you're going to need payroll. There's all kinds of different reports, all kinds of different government filings you have to do with it. And ultimately, whether you're doing your own payroll and you're going to need a payroll system to do that, or you're hiring out to one of the major services out there, things like QuickBook payroll services, Paycor, Paychecks. I'm going to say it wrong, but like ADT or AB. There's a bunch of payroll services. Actually, there's only half a dozen or so major ones, and they all offer payroll. And I tried to look before this broadcast to see if any of them offered like partners or referral or affiliate type stuff, because my idea was this would be great for affiliate. This would be great for commissions. But none of them did, as far as like it being a major part of their business. So in that case, the problem is a bunch of small businesses, they don't want to deal with their payroll, but ultimately they need to find a payroll system. Most likely, I mean, you could, of course, put together a payroll system yourself, but most likely the quick play, the play that you would want to do, unless you're like a CPA wanting to dive into everybody's payroll, hopefully, like I said, maybe that's you. But the solution I view is putting people in contact with the different payroll systems that are already out there. So I would do that by probably setting up some kind of lead or referral or advertising option. You'll see that the same companies are advertising on Google when you're doing a search for payroll services and things. And this domain name would allow you to set up a great little affiliate program. So I do know that a lot of these companies, like Paycor, for example, they deal with a lot of commissioned sales. So their salespeople make commission each time they sign up a new client. So while the company may not have some kind of affiliate program or referral fee, you might be able to find a salesperson to work with, and you can deliver some leads to them. And then, of course, make some form of lead for each one you do. I would love to dive into the pay-per-click side of it, of lead programs. That's the 3-minute timer. But so let's say that you did want to do these as a lead site. The idea being, you're showing the different options of payroll systems. I mean, do I get 6 minutes? I mean, it's 2 domain names. So let's say you can line them up, do a comparison of what the services offer, maybe what their costs are, and then ideally, some kind of button or something that gives a link over to it if they do have a partner or affiliate system that you can participate in. Otherwise, you're going to need to do it based on a form, where that form comes to you and you provide it to a salesperson and they pay you some kind of money, which brings me to the idea of starting over, which is when you're starting over and you need to, and let me just back up and say, as always, if you own payrollsystems.com, how would you develop it? How would you build out payroll system, payrollsystems.com, and those two over on GoDaddy Auctions? But so you're starting out, whether by choice, maybe it's your first business you want to launch, or you're being forced to because you lost a job, your business has been forced to close, and you still have to eat, you still have to pay the bills. The way that I always look at that situation is reverse the funnel is the principle that I go with. And so let me go to Skycam and pull up my little head up in the corner here. Okay. So this is Skycam. I love to do things visually, and because I'm not sure how wordy I'll get, I figured I'd use some paper on this. Reversing the funnel. So maybe you're familiar with a sales funnel. It's this idea over here of the public is out in the world. They're out here in the cloud. These are the people, and they're living their life, and you're running ads and things to make them aware. They need to be aware of who you are, what you do, what your product or service is. Typically, if these on the top of your funnel, you're dealing with very cold traffic, so you typically look at the problem. If you were setting up an ad campaign, for example, if you were setting up an ad campaign and you already had your business running, you're doing fine, and you're like, I'm going to set up an automated marketing campaign, you would run the funnel this way. You would run ads that focus on the problem that the customer may have. For example, do you hate payroll? Are you spending hours every single week or every other week, filling out paperwork for payroll? You're focusing on the problem, what they don't want to do. That's what you're going to do at the top of the funnel. The middle of funnel, and if you're familiar with funnels, you may be familiar with some of this. I don't use the same lingo as everybody else. Hope that's okay. I'm like self-taught on everything, so I just make a bunch of words up as I go. So problem, but then the middle of the funnel is a solution. So this is when you start to say, hey, do you hate spending all that time on your payroll? That's the problem. The solution is, well, you need a system that can turn payroll from several hours a week into 10 minutes one time, and next thing you know, your payroll's done. So now you're focusing on the solution. Like, hey, there you have this problem. Here's the solution. So you'll see this on our 3-minute business plan as well. What's the problem that they're facing? What's the solution? Then the bottom of the funnel is the problem, solution, product. Your language would focus on the product. And then awareness, and this is where you get the lead. So it's a little hard to see. Hopefully you can see that. I apologize. I know it's a little small. But you have awareness, you have the lead, and then down here you have the sale that's happening. If you're dealing with awareness, you're talking in language that's dealing with the problem. You have people that already sent you their contact information. They're like, I have that problem. Yeah, I hate payroll. I need some solution. I need to take it from 2 hours to 10 minutes. So they're looking at that solution. Now they're in this section of lead, and then this bottom one is the close or the sale, and that's when you focus on your product. That's when you're saying, well, payrollsystems.com has all the different payroll companies all lined up, and we let you compare them. So now your payroll can go from hours to these different solutions, which can take as little as 10 minutes. Click here, and we'll take your information, send it over to Greg, our sales rep or something. I don't know. Hopefully that makes sense. So if you are starting over and you're like, starting over can be from, I got a nice buffer. I got, months of time. I've been saving my money. I've been, taken care of. If you have time to build out a business, then that's great. But if you're in a moment where you've emptied your savings account because you bought a house, you're newly married, you're like, don't want to start your marriage off by not being able to provide for your new family and lose your house, and you're just like, I need to get money right now. You need to do what I call flipping the funnel, which is literally flipping the funnel. You need to, instead of taking the time to build awareness, to turn it into a lead, to turn it into a sale, you need all your activities to be down in the section of the sale. So what does that look like? What does it look like to spend your time down by the sale? Well, it looks exactly like that. Chances are you need to get your butt on the phone and make some sales. Well, Drew, I don't have a business yet. Well, in that case, if you're up against the wall, you can only sell what you have, and that's going to be your time. So if you have a partnership with a different company, for example, and you can sell their product or their service, that's great. But realistically, if you need to make money tomorrow, the only option you have is to sell your time. And in that case, realistically, maybe payroll service or payrollsystems.com is for you, and you're kind of like, maybe you're CPA or you've already done payroll. Hey, I'm calling up small businesses and I want to help you find a solution. Pay me money and I'll get you set up on payroll or something. You're trading your time and expertise. That's really your only option. You don't have a product or service. Now, if you do have a product or service, you need to pick up the phone and call, right? This is your back up against the wall. When it came down to me and in my situation, Crystal went off to work at Home Depot, and she was, just working, a normal retail job. That's when I got my butt calling a bunch of moving companies, because the website I was running at the time was movingindex.com, which I already had this directory set up, but it was neglected a little bit because I was working on other stuff. kind of typical Drew. But I needed to make sure that I got my butt in gear. And instead of working on long-term projects, I was working on the bottom of the funnel. I was working on this idea that I need to make the sales. I need the money now. I can't wait. I can't hope for some big future. I need to get the sales. So I reverse the funnel and spend the time down here. Now, let's say, for example, you do have a website. What's a good business for you? Well, you can go up the funnel. Just like I said, we flip it. You could always spend your time selling leads. I shared a story when it came down to, I shared a story a couple weeks ago at NamesCon where it was one of the chapters in my life. I thought I owned a business. I started the business. It was me in a 10 by 10 room, no windows. It was all just fluorescent lights and really old, like burgundy carpet that really, anyhow. But it was me, folding desk, folding chair, starting this company. Fast forward years later, the company's grown quite a bit. I built all these systems and things, and I'm told that I'm not actually an owner. And I got booted from this company. And I was actually by my brother-in-law, and I thought we were all owners, and I did all this work to build this company up. I mean, we were all partners in it, and it turns out that I was mistaken. I was not a part owner in this company, and I was sitting across from the desk from him, and he pretty much said, "Hey, there's nothing for you here." I'm like, "Hey, I'm ready to really step in as an owner," and he's like, "What do you mean? You're not an owner. There's nothing for you here." And so it was one of those times that I had to start over, and sitting in my car, just like, well, I mean, crying and dealing with the fact that, like, this giant business that I thought I was owner of, I wasn't, nothing on a dotted line. Anyhow, what did I do? I turned to leads. I turned to selling leads. I actually built up lead sites, called up companies, and went with a tactic that I'll talk to you about after our next 3-minute business plan. And basically found companies that were willing to pay me for leads, and then I generated leads for them. More on that after our next 3-minute business plan, because I do want to make sure that I bring these business plan opportunities to you. So we talked about payrollsystems.com. Anybody going to build out payroll systems? I love those are some good domains over on GoDaddy. I have found that domains like this are going to hit high 3 figures, low 4 figures. So, I mean, you're going to need to have a couple $1,000s probably to buy that pair. And ideally, buy the pair. They're going to be really good. There's always this debate of singular versus plural. If you can have them both, then does it matter? Like, together, you have all the power. You're not splitting it up between the two. Let's see. Let's go with something leisure, a little more light. Actually, no, we'll keep it here. We'll go with haulingservices.com. And when I'm talking to myself, it's because I'm looking down at my computer screen trying to decide what domain name to. I am a little crazy, but, there's a reason. Okay, so haulingservices.com. This domain name is up on GoDaddy. $51 is what it was. Again, this one's going to end up being several $100s at least. Ends in 5 days. And we're going to talk about this and plan a business. A 3-minute business plan. Starting the timer now. So haulingservices.com, depending on where you are, we have hauling services all over the place. A guy that used to work for me, he always said, that basically I needed to get rid of some old desks and some old stuff from a building that we owned previously. And he said, you don't have an asshole with the truck? And literally, he's like, everybody has an asshole with a truck. Some guy that you call up and he comes, takes your garbage out. I was like, no, I don't have that. He's like, well, I'll call my guy. And he literally had him in his phone. What was it? It's whatever the abbreviation, asshole with the truck, AWT or whatever. Anyhow, so he calls this guy up, and sure enough, he comes, grabs all the stuff, tosses it in the back of his old pickup truck, hauls it away, hopefully to a landfill or for recycling. That was like the one time we did that. After that, we used Got Junk and, the different hauling services that are out there. But there's an entire category. You're probably familiar with hauling services. Maybe you've used them. If you own a building, for sure, you probably had to do it. But haulingservices.com, the problem is people have junk. They have especially basements. Gosh, I could just tell so many stories about like rental properties. You don't want basements because people put all their junk down there, and then when they move, they never bother to take it all out. So you have to have all that hauled out. Every property, if it has a basement, you know what I'm talking about. The basement's full of junk. Your basement's full of junk. If you have a basement, I know it is, because that's where all the junk goes. So you have a basement full of stuff. People need to have that stuff hauled out of there. You need to call a hauling service. So the problem is you got a basement full of junk. Solution is you need a service. And the fact of the matter is there's a bunch of services out there now. You have everything from 1-800-GOT-JUNK to what the college hunks hauling junk. These different services that are out there. Everything to the AWT. I don't know. Independent people that have pickup trucks that haul stuff. But you can create a directory and or sell leads, because I guarantee places like Got Junk and stuff pay for leads. So in my case, sitting in my car, need to sell leads. If I had haulingservices.com, I could put up a lead site with a form that says, hey, we'll send your lead, because Got Junk and some of those companies are nationwide. So you can sell them leads no matter where the lead comes in, which is huge. That's such a big deal to find a company that will buy leads no matter what part of the U.S. you're selling them in. And then, sell them for $5, $10, $15, $20, whatever they're willing to pay. And then you do some either pay-per-click or just scrappy SEO, write some articles or content. Next thing you know, generating traffic, generating leads, and hopefully generating money all within a few days is the goal of a lead site. Ultimately, one day, I hope to essentially build a lead site for you right here. I think all too often people assume like starting a business is some big complicated thing when it doesn't have to be. Like, at least not at the beginning. It doesn't have to be complicated at the beginning. It really is a really simple transaction. When I was a kid, I mowed a lot of lawns. I've been running little businesses and little things my entire life. And what do you do when you're a kid mowing lawns? You go knock on the door. Hey, I'm Drew. I got a lawnmower. Can I mow your lawn for $15 or $20, whatever? Yes or no? Done. That's pretty much it. That is a business for a kid. I mean, you can do that. I had a guy come by my house. Cincinnati had a big snowfall, and it was a grown guy. The kids never come by to shovel snow anymore. You ever realize that? I don't know. So what if you? So the kids never come by to shovel snow. So what did this guy do? He had a quad. He puts a plow on the front, and he goes house to house, like $20 to shovel a driveway with this plow. It takes him 5 minutes. Like, it's boom, 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 done. $20. It took, no kid could ever shovel snow anymore because they can't compete with the guy in his quad. But there you go. That is business. The dude just banks. Anytime it snows, hundreds and hundreds of dollars just running his quad. That is business. When we flip the funnel, when we start right up here with the sale, whether you're doing sales, selling your time, selling a product, selling something you've already developed, the next thing is to sell a lead. You can sell leads to other companies that are out there. You just got to find the people that are looking for that service. And you apply this tactic here, whether it's haulingservices.com or auto transport leads like I used to do. If you are selling leads, here's all you do. Here's the tactic. If I blank, will you blank? That's it. That's all you need for selling leads. If I provide you leads of people that are looking to have stuff hauled away, will you pay me $10 per lead? Will you pay me $5 per lead? $20? It's such a simple transaction for a business to make that they will do it like all the time. Like I would do that. Like, okay, take a deep breath here. A lot of times people will ask me like, hey, maybe they lost their job or something, and they know that I run companies, and they're kind of like, what can I do to kind of make ends meet for a little bit? Do you have anything? And no matter what my company is doing, no matter like whether we're struggling or not, the position I always have available is for somebody to do commission sales or commission leads. It's not going to be great money. It's going to be hard as all heck. But if you make me money, if you find a customer that's handing money over to me, then of course I'll share. Like, you can keep some of that. I'll share some of that. That is the idea of flipping the funnel. The idea that, hey, if I can bring you a customer, if I bring you a customer of $100, can I keep $30? It's an easy decision for a business. Same thing with leads. If I bring you a lead, somebody that was looking for your service, that filled out a form with contact information, looking for a quote or something to haul junk out of their basement, will you pay me $10? And I will do this repeatedly for you. Will you do that? A business, it's a simple decision for a business to do that. We get ads all the time as just individuals. Like, we get the Val Pack or the Reach magazines, all the different things come to our house all the time. And, those businesses are paying lots of money to be in those advertisements. The entire purpose, let me go back to their entire purpose of any ad you see is to make you aware of what they're doing. You received mail, okay? You're in the blob, you're out here, and they're like, hey, you got this problem. You should be aware that we can retile your bathroom, or we can haul junk out of your basement because you need to get that crap out of the basement. And all they're doing is dealing up here when you see those ads. So if you let them skip this, and you're flipping the funnel and you're like, hey, I need to make money. If I bring you a sale, will you pay me money? If I bring you a lead, will you pay me money? Boom. That's how you start a business. If your back's up against the ropes and you need to make money right now, commission sales, affiliate programs, or selling leads, that is how you're going to do it. You'll get better at it over time. And then you can always worry about your awareness campaigns and growing your business down the road. But if you need to pay the bills, you need to be as close to the money as possible. Okay. Hope that makes sense. The principle is just, if I, will you. If I, will you. So I think Michael was talking specifically about hauling systems. He said, hey, that would be great. Maybe he has Michael, you got a bunch of stuff in your basement. I always have stuff in my basement I need to haul out. I'm in a bi-lib. I don't even have a basement now. Okay. Well, let's get to another opportunity and another 3-minute business plan. Hopefully so far, the idea of flipping the funnel. Hopefully you've seen a funnel before. If not, you can find it. It's all over marketing books and things, this idea of awareness, generating leads, and then sales. But starting with sales, you got to get as close to the money as possible. If you do, you're saving businesses money. Therefore, they'll give you some of that money. So flip the funnel. And then we're applying the if I, will you. If I bring this value to you in some way, will you do this? It doesn't have to be any more complicated than that. It'd be the same thing if you went around mowing lawns. If I mow your lawn, will you pay me $20? And that's it. That is business. You do that a million times, you have quite the business going. Okay, next 3-minute business plan. We are going to go with. I want to go with something fun. Let's go with something fun. We're working hard here. Let's go with. All these are fun to me. I love this stuff. I want to go with workeats.com. I feel like all too often here on Domain to Profit, I go with directories, leads. I think workeats.com is an opportunity at something a little more creative. And here's what I'm thinking, but I'm going to start the timer to do it. So workeats.com. Over on GoDaddy, super cheap right now. And you might be thinking, workeats.com, that domain lacks authority. It's not your typical domain, Drew. You're pulling something, rabbit out of the hat with Workeats. And here's what I'm thinking with this. Here's why I pulled this one out. every company I've ever worked for, there's menus in a drawer somewhere. There's menus on a wall. Maybe on Fridays they get together and place an order from a restaurant or something. There's food and work go together. I mean, have you worked in corporate America? Like, food and work go together. And one of the things that happens, maybe you have this in your relationship with your spouse, where do you want to eat tonight, honey? It can be difficult, right? Well, multiply that by a workplace, stuff gets complicated. My thought with workeats.com could be workeats.com. We help make and organize feeding your team when you decide to do an impromptu meal, something like that. And you have all the different people I think it's a really personalized kind of app or website where all the different team members, sign up, authenticate through Facebook. They enter in the restaurants that they like. Those restaurants are matched with the other people that are looking to grab meal this time. Most popular wins. Then you can place their order from their menu. And then whoever's handling the order, God bless the people that handle that detail and actually call or make that order. They have this nice list now, and you organize getting your workplace eats. It's work eats. Maybe I'm stretching too much. I think it would be fun. I think it would be handy. Now, how would you monetize it? That's always the question with any kind of business like this, because there's the money's going to come in from the transaction to the business. So maybe you charge a fee if you can order it through like a DoorDash or something like that. Like a commission sale through that would be great. I'm not sure if that kind of thing's available right yet. Tell you what, you build it, then you try to sell the whole stinking business over to DoorDash or Uber Eats or something. That would be okay. Anyhow, but workeats.com. The problem is workplaces organize food all the time, and you don't want it to be a big ordeal each time. Workeats.com helps you organize it. So instead of spending an hour choosing food, it's a simple 15-minute process from we're getting food to the fact that the food's ordered. Monetization, probably through like a commission or through advertisements. Like the advertisements could be like, hey, we're running a special and Subway is offering $5 footlongs for everybody. Do something like that through advertising. I don't know. I love those kind of things because they're fun. They're, but if you're starting out, if we go back to the topic of the day, if you're starting out and you need money right now, that is not when you try to create a business from scratch and try to figure it out as you go along. Okay? It's a lot of fun to do that, but ultimately it's not as clear cut as to how you're going to get to the money. There's so many businesses out there for such a long time. It was like, oh, we're worth a lot of money because we have so many users, but they were never making money. Like, place that in your life, or if you place it into this idea of a funnel, they're spending all their time up here in awareness. They're like, oh, but look how many people we have using us. There's so many people aware of us, but ultimately they're not making, the money. And it's kind of like, hey, business should make money and you're not going to eat off of users. So, okay. Hopefully that's fun. I had fun with that one. Workeats.com, and that was over on GoDaddy. I'm going to go right into another one because there's another one that I enjoy, and I want to make sure I get plenty of domain name opportunities for you. Let's go over to this one here. And, of course, as always, whether it's haulingservices.com, workeats.com, how are you going to build it? I hope somebody out there is looking for that side project, gets one of these domains, builds it. As always, let me know if you do. Could be fun stuff. And let me see here. And I believe, Michael, you got, he says he loves it from beginning to end. I'm guessing that is Hauling Services because that's a great domain. It's a great domain name. And hopefully you like eating in the office too because Work Eats is fun. So the next one I am going to enjoy because it's kind of in the hobby range for me. And that is vaporizerkits.com. Vaporizerkits.com, starting the clock. 3 minutes. So this is I don't typically deal in the realm of products. Products are complicated. There's shipping, there's getting, a physical product in a box. And yeah, you can drop ship things. And that's what I'm going to say for vaporizerkits.com. The idea of finding people that sell vaporizer kits. What the heck's a vaporizer kit? Well, here's why I wanted to include this one. I love the show, how does it work or how is it made? I love to know how things work. I love those kits with the wires and the electronics, and you connect it and you make things buzz and light up. I have all kinds of different bead boards where, I run things together and I'll make a LED light bulb flash. I'm such a geek when it comes to kits. And I think actually the bead board that I have was part of something called a nerd kit. And, well, because I'm a nerd, I'm a geek. But one of the things that I've always been curious about is vaporizers. Whether it's the things that are part of a cannabis or nicotine vape, or the ones that we have in our office that put out, we have essences, oils like lemon and different things that makes it smell nice in your office. Well, those vaporizers, how the heck do those things even work? The moisture comes out and it's not hot. So I don't know. I'd be curious to have a kit where I got to play with that technology and vaporize a bunch of liquids or something. So maybe there's some scientists out there that likes the idea. Anyhow, so vaporizerkits.com. For guys like me, charge me, $100 or something to have the pieces of a vaporizer sent to them, and essentially I assemble it and get to learn how to build my own vape. Of course, not for use, just for learning. Here's the thing. If you were to buy, a vape, you can buy it assembled super cheap. They're super cheap. But if you disassemble it, is that the way you would say it? Disassemble? Not assembled yet? Okay. But if it's sold as parts and you have a kit that teaches you how to put it together and what things do, suddenly people are willing to pay a lot more for it. Like me, for example, I'm your customer. The problem is I want to learn how that stuff works. The solution is vaporizerkits.com, where you can learn how vapes work and even order kits to build your own and play with that technology. Unique selling proposition being, if you're looking to learn how to build a vaporizer, how vaporizers work, and this and that, vaporizerkits.com is where you go to get that. Because you can charge more, there's a good amount of profit margin and things. This kind of thing is the product that you want to be involved in because the margins are big. Kits, the margins are big. So if you're going to deal your time down here in this idea of selling something, sell something with big margins. I don't know. Okay. Hopefully that makes sense. Hopefully that's fun. And who's my nerds out there? Hopefully if you're watching this, chances are you're little, I love this stuff. You're watching some awkward guy from Cincinnati. Chances are you either just like to make fun of me because you're too cool for school, or you're my kind of person. So anyhow. Okay. I want to go on to the next 3-minute domain. I'm just trying to make sure I have. Okay. I'm going to go on to the next 3-minute domain to business idea. And the reason why is because, again, I have a domain name that allows me to talk about something outside of just a directory. Like haulingservices.com could be a great directory. Yeah, I tried to not go down the path that I always talk about, these industry portals and directories and things like that. I want to make sure that I'm bringing you new ideas and not just – they're proven, though, but, I like to bring you new ideas. So we're going to go with this one here. This is another one. This one is GoDaddy.com is what I have it as. Hopefully that is correct. GoDaddy.com was at $90, ends in 6 days. It is greatdates.com. Start the timer. I'll tell you why I've got this one up here. So greatdates.com, last week we talked about the different business models we can put on a domain name. I'll summarize those again after this 3-minute business plan. But this one in particular, I think, is a great opportunity for content. It's a great opportunity for content where you monetize through ads or through sponsorships. And greatdates.com is one of those opportunities where you can share with guys like me, guys who, I want to have a great date. I want to woo my wife. I want to woo the woman in my life. Woo, is that still woo? Is that still a word? Okay. I want to, but at the same time, I fall back on the same ideas over and over and over again. It's like, go to a movie, have dinner. We basically, greatdates.com would be an opportunity for somebody who comes up with creative date ideas to share them. Share them in a blog. Share them in sponsored listings where you're talking about some of the new gift ideas, new fun things that couples can do. You put it together a blog, greatdates.com. You get sponsorships, advertising. Again, this would not be something you do quickly. It would take time to grow because content always takes time to grow. We talked a while back about the SEO piece of it. The content goes out into the world. Google starts to send you traffic. You wouldn't probably do pay-per-click ads. You would need to concentrate on getting people to share it socially as well as getting it into the search engine and things. But are you sharing your great date ideas with guys and women, people that need help coming up with great date ideas, and you become the great dates person? Solution on your website through your content. Unique selling proposition is, it's pretty easy to be like, oh yeah, going on dates. You need to have a date night. Yeah, but it's always so boring. Greatdates.com, dude. Go over to greatdates.com. They always have all kinds of different ideas. There you go. Greatdates.com. A very authoritative domain name. Very easy for people to spread word of mouth. I like this. It needs a cheesy rating system because not everyone wants to do the cheesy things. Yeah, see, I like to do the cheesy things. State fairs, carnivals, that kind of thing. I'm okay with that. Is that cheesy? I don't know. Okay. So awareness would be social and search engine optimization through content marketing. And whenever I use a buzzword like those things, you could always Google it, find plenty of people that will walk you through what it means. What does search engine optimization mean? How do you do it? What does content marketing mean? How do you do it? Hopefully that makes sense. I'll go deeper into each of those things over time, but ultimately I would never want to get in the way. I don't want to be a roadblock for you. I want to inspire you, send you on your way so you can do some great stuff. I don't want to cause you to be held back because you're waiting for me some week to dive into setting up a Facebook ad or something. Yeah. Okay. Hopefully everybody's having a good time with this. If you're watching on Restream or watching this later on, always share with me in the comments what you're thinking of the different business ideas. These are only available this week. They're all going to be gone. Probably never have an opportunity again. And all these domain opportunities, I don't have it. There's nothing in it for me. None of these domains are my cells. I got to figure out a way to get some commission from GoDaddy or something. GoDaddy, you watching? Okay. Anyhow, and here we go. Dates could be the food too, gift packages. Yeah, there's all kinds of different stuff. I love businesses where you're dealing with discretionary income. So basically by that I mean, you don't have to go on a date. You don't have to spend money on certain things. We do it because we have the extra money and we want to enjoy our life and make the most of it. Discretionary income businesses are so much fun. They follow the cycle of the economy and stuff a little bit. But yeah, like food, flowers, teddy bear, could you imagine could you imagine greatdates.com or on Valentine's Day when everybody's like, every guy's like, oh, I'm about to run through the gas station for a card. I've done that for the last 5 years, and somebody at my office told me I shouldn't do that again. So what am I supposed to do? Oh, greatdates.com gives me some ideas, blah, blah, blah. Anyhow. Okay. Alrighty. So let me discretionary income. Let's go with this next domain. I'm just diving right. I hope this is okay. We're firing off these 3-minute business plans. I love doing this. I love coming up with these. And just so you know, when I do these 3-minute business plans, I typically do maybe it's not, hopefully it's not too obvious, but I don't spend a lot of time prepping for it. I like to, see what you think and see what comes to mind in that moment. So it's typically very truly a 3-minute business plan. I just look at the domain name, see if it kind of fits the formula a little bit, and then I bring it on. So for speaking of discretionary income, extra income, is there anything more discretionary income than this here? Motorcycles. Most people, do people, not very often do people buy motorcycles because they're like, they save so much fuel. I can commute on this every day to work. Typically the way motorcycles are advertised is you buy scooters if you're just looking for a commute, saving money. If you want to actually, buy a motorcycle, typically it's discretionary income because ultimately you want to be cool, man. You want to sit and ride the open road or something like that. You can tell I probably don't have a motorcycle. My wife will let me. Okay. So findmotorcycle.com. This would be one of those opportunities where I would say I typically like the plural better. I would like it with an S, findmotorcycles.com. A lot of people say they like singular. So here you go. If you like the singular better, this is for you, findmotorcycle.com. We talked weeks back about authority and the idea of how would you hack together a domain name. Motorcycle.com, great domain. It's not available. So what can you do? Find is a great way to hack together a domain name so you can find a cheaper domain name, one that's available, but still be able to target your target audience. So if you love motorcycles, findmotorcycle.com might be for you. $12, ends in 4 days. So the idea is you're looking for a motorcycle, and where do you go to find motorcycle to find one? And I would say this could be an opportunity to pull out a classified website. That is actually not one of the business ideas I shared last week. People on Twitter shared with me like job postings and classifieds. I forgot about them. So there we go. Findmotorcycle.com is where people can go and post their motorcycles for sale, and then it's a search engine for people to be able to find motorcycles in their area, and they can search by make, model, whatever it is that people look for in motorcycles, and find the listings on those classifieds. So classifieds are a big one, and again, it's in discretionary income. So people are looking because ultimately they have some money that's burning a hole in their pocket, which means there's going to be money for advertising. There's going to be money for people that are looking to make money through this industry, which is why we look for that industry. Problem is people are looking for motorcycles. Solution is we're going to provide a way for them to find a bunch of different motorcycles through findmotorcycle.com. Unique selling proposition is if you need to find a motorcycle, findmotorcycle.com. I think find a motorcycle may be better, but anyhow, if you get it for cheap, findmotorcycle.com, still a great domain name with authority. You're going to lose some traffic to alternative domain names. So with that said, you're going to want to make sure you're doing a lot of pay-per-click and things where they don't have to type in that domain name. Because if they have to think back to what the domain name is, you're going to lose traffic to find a motorcycle, find motorcycles, and things like that. So with that said, the awareness, I would concentrate on things where they're clicking, not typing. So that means pay-per-click, social media ads, social media content sharing. So that way they're finding your website by clicking rather than, don't run radio ads. That's going to be too confusing. Word of mouth even going to be tough. So, okay. I don't know. What do you think? Findmotorcycle.com. Anybody? How would you build it? I keep this Post-it note hidden behind my head here, but let me see here. Hi, Drew. So right here on my laptop, it's always with me. How would you build it is what that says. How would you build it? I'm always curious, So whether it's now, whether it's in a week after the auction ends, let me know. How would you build it? I'm very curious. I view this show as a opportunity for us as a united force to think, to brainstorm, to just use our imaginations like we're a bunch of 12-year-old kids. Instead of cutting out cardboard boxes and using markets to make rocket ships, we're looking at domain names and coming up with 3-minute business plans. So after the domain auction ends, maybe you can share your idea. I know some people just don't want to share before the money and things have settled. So, okay, we are up against it. We have time for one more domain name. Ooh, I got a good one here. So let's go with this. I want to make sure I bring this to you. And, okay, with 3 minutes left, we're going to be going to topassistedliving.com over on GoDaddy. Ends in 3 days. And topassistedliving.com, let me fix something real quick because I just realized that I have that little camera of me. Okay, sorry about that. Anyhow, topassistedliving.com, 3-minute countdown. Assisted living is, of course, a big keyword. So I'm going to share my screens, in fact. Hopefully this works. And I'm over here on semrush.com. This is one of the tools that I use. And I did a search for assistedliving.com. And hopefully you can see this on my screen. 90,000 searches per month in the U.S. An average cost per click, $6.29. Globally, U.S. is by far the most, but 103,000 searches globally. So this is a pretty huge keyword, and it is hacked together. So by hacked together, I mean it's an authority hack domain. Assistedliving.com would be the best possible domain name, but we can't have that one. So what do? We add topassistedliving.com. And that is the domain name that is available over on GoDaddy. Ultimately, you probably hear this all the time. There's a lot of baby boomers coming up. Assisted living is an opportunity where either caregivers come to their house and assist them in their own house, or they go to communities, or you can even go to senior care centers, retirement homes. Is that what they're called? Okay. But assisted living are people that are looking to be watched out for. So great opportunity. As you can see, the cost per click and the keyword volume makes this domain name rather valuable, because ultimately any major community is going to have lots of assisted living opportunities or possibilities. It's just a matter of choosing the top one, right? So topassistedliving.com. We hacked the authority by putting top at the beginning, and now we can do comparisons maybe. You could either sell leads, do a internet portal or industry portal, which would allow you to charge membership fees. I would go you could do leads if you need quick money. You can do the portal if you're able to take your time on it. And assisted living. See. Okay, let me get back to this problem. We help people find assisted livings, ones with reviews, ratings, that they can trust. Authoritative domain name for sure. I love the domain name. Awareness, word of mouth, search engine optimization. And if it's $6 per click, if you could figure out a way to get clicks, generate traffic for cheaper than that, that's going to leave you margin. Just imagine how high a lead sells for in this. If they're paying $6 per click, that means that you probably get $50, $40 per lead, in that industry. So possibly a good domain name if you're familiar with leads, SEO, content marketing, topassistedliving.com. And as we wrap up the show, I want to show you this next domain name, which I'm not going to do a 3-minute business plan for, but I'm including it because it goes right along with it, and it's this one here, assistanceprovider.com. This one ends in 5 days as well, currently very cheap. Assistanceprovider.com. Like I said, assisted living, they come to your house, whatever else. Assistance provider could be those home health care people that come to your house. Again, directory and so on. So those two go together. It was topassistedliving.com and then assistanceprovider.com are those two domain names that we will use to wrap up this week's week 9 of From Domain to Profit. And there we go. I appreciate you coming with me. I don't know if you're at a start in your life where maybe you've lost a job, lost your business. Hopefully, I've helped you see how you can flip the funnel, how you can say, if I can do this, will you do this? And get to the scrappy nature of becoming an entrepreneur and be able to pay your bills and move your life forward in a hopeful way, a way that you can make your dreams come true. And either way, thanks for joining me. Hope that you found a great domain name this week, and see you next week.